Testing 1, 2, 3. Good morning, everybody, and welcome back. April the 2nd, 2024. April Fool's Day was yesterday, but for Bitcoin, April Fool's Day is today. I went to sleep at 69,700, I think, and I woke up this morning, and what did Bitcoin do to me? It dropped 4% overnight. How dare it? Good morning, everyone. I hope you are doing well. My name is Mike, and you are watching Crypto Warehouse. We stream every day at 11 o'clock, Monday to Saturday. Monday and Wednesday nights, we stream at 9 o'clock. We do a trading show. So make sure to follow us and subscribe wherever you are. If you look in the bottom left-hand corner, we are just under 115,000 followers. Bottom right-hand corner, you will see my price target, which I am sticking to. $74,000 is the next move for Bitcoin. I don't care about these short-term noisy moves. I don't care about liquidations. I don't care about anything other than the pre-halving target that I have. So what are we going to cover today? Well, believe it or not, I produced the stream last night, so I haven't got anything about the dip, but I have been reading about it this morning. We're going to go through the Bitcoin bubble. We're going to have a look at the bull run, round 2. Tether and its position with Bitcoin. We're then going to look at Ethereum again. Vitalik has been back in the press. We're going to look at Core. Now, Core, you may have just seen, again, it's one of these coins that just appears out of nowhere. We're going to take a very quick look at Core. We're going to have a look at the website itself, and also going to look at the price action, which is relatively new price action, so there isn't an awful lot to say about it. Then we're going to go through Y-Link. We're going to have a look at RWAs. That stands for Real World Assets. Why am I bullish on Link? So we're going to go through that at the end. And then, if we have time, final thoughts. I have shoehorned another article into the stream today, so we might have to go a little bit faster than we did. So that's what we're going to try and do today. Good morning to Oz. Good morning to Chew. Good morning to Silvermaster. Good morning to Kishan and Mags and Hidden Agendas and the usual crowd that are watching this morning. I hope you're doing very well. So let's start off with the bloodbath, shall we? Market is down 4.4%, 2.5 trillion. I would have taken that 6 months ago. Volume is up back over 100 billion, 112 billion in volume. Bitcoin dominance edged up a little bit, 52.2. ETH still 16-ish%, nothing to change there. But look at this. Bitcoin, what are you doing to me? 66,275. Ethereum, 3370. BNB has been crushed. Not a good day to look at the 24-hour gainers and losers, but we're going to do that. So Core. We're going to look at Core, not to give you financial advice, not to tell you to buy the pump. We're going to look at it and we're going to see, has it shot up in value above and beyond what it should have done? Is this a good time to buy Core or isn't it? BitTenza is up, BitGet, Maker, Mantle. I mean, this is not going to be good. I'm warning you now, sit down and sip your coffee, because these 24-hour losers are going to be double-digit pains. Now, how do I look at this chart? What coins in here are the coins that I think are good pickups? That's the way I look at these. Now, I always say the meme coins are the ones that get hammered first. I've been saying all along that Dog with Hat should not be a $4.5 billion asset. Pepe has been hammered. What else is down here that's been hammered? Bonk has been hammered. There's that many that you can scroll up and down and see many double-digit losers. So what proper projects are down? Ondo is down. Aptos is down. Bitcoin SV, which isn't really a proper project, is down. Conflux, Audi, Flare. I mean, the list goes on. Jupiter. I said yesterday when it was at $1.70, $1.58 is a good price to get Jupiter at. We're almost there, 158. If you were wanting to get into any of these projects, days like these are the days to buy these projects. And I'm not talking about Dog with Hat. I'm talking about Axelar, Ondo, Aptos, any of these coins that you want to add to your bags for the bull run, today is the type of day you want to be looking at these coins, in my opinion. Same with the AI tokens we've been talking about. Remember that Fetch was $3.20 or $3.10. Singularity was $1.20, $1.25. So these coins are at a discount. If you are DCAing in, keep doing what you're doing. These are the days that bring the average price of your coins down. I mean, this list just is endless. Everything has been hammered. So we're not going to go on too much about that. So we're not. All I will say is two things. There was an excess of outflows yesterday from the ETFs. Grayscale yet again sold off over $300 million worth of assets, but BlackRock had an outflow, I believe, of about 80 million. A net outflow of about 80 million. So yesterday was a bad day for ETFs. They sold off, and now we're seeing the result of that sell-off. Now, what is likely to happen, I'm not saying it will, is that we're likely to have some kind of bounce. And we're going to look at, I think we're going to look at the Bitcoin chart today. Let me just check. Yes, we are going to look at the Bitcoin chart in a bit. So we'll have a look at what levels we've got. There is a gap that people think we're going to go down to. So there is a gap. I think it's at 60 to 62,000, somewhere like that. But we're going to have a look at that. Those gaps don't always get filled. The CMC gap, I think it's called. They don't always get filled, but there is one, and that could potentially be sucking the price down. But for me personally, why do I think this happened? Because I think everybody longed yesterday on the dip. I think we came down, everybody longed the dip. The price moved back up, so everyone was slightly in profits. And then we were absolutely trashed to the downside, and all the longs were liquidated. The data isn't available at the time of this video, of this stream, so I can't tell you exactly what's happened. But whenever there is longs liquidated, the shorts get liquidated soon after. So expect some kind of short squeeze today, and maybe some kind of price reversal back to the upside. But we don't know, do we? We don't have a crystal ball, as I always say. I'm going off my sixth instinct. So what's happening in the world? So this week then, Chairman Powell's remarks and the US non-farm payroll data are key highlights this week. Investors watch for clues on economic policy and potential interest rate cuts. Now, this is a busy week, a very busy week. We have today, is this in order? I think it is. So today we have the jobs data. Tomorrow we have the OPEC meeting. Wednesday we also have Chairman Powell speaking. Friday we have another jobs report. And there are 16 Fed speaker events this week. Now what tends to happen is you will get somebody other than Powell speaking at a gala dinner, and they'll ask him about the economy, or they'll ask her about the economy. And they'll come out and say, oh, you know, we're probably going to have rate cuts later on this year. And that will feed into the market, and we'll see a small pump. That's what tends to happen with these things. You hear more from these kind of impromptu talks than you tend to do from Powell after the rate decisions. So this week is probably going to be more volatile than most. Now then, 11 years ago, yesterday, Bitcoin hit a 1 billion market cap for the first time in its history. We are at 1.3 trillion today. So in 11 years, we have moved up. What's that, 1300x? We've come a long way. And the headline 11 years ago is what made me laugh. The total worth of the virtual currency has reached a new high. Economists are mystified as to why. Economists are always mystified, because when things don't follow their models and fall outside of their ranges, as it happens 90% of the time, they get mystified. Strange word to use from somebody who grew up on calculus, in my opinion. Bitcoin has moved on. We are at 1.3 trillion. We are going to be at potentially 3, 4, 5 trillion in the next 2 years in Bitcoin. And where it goes from there, I do not know, because it is fairly scary. So a few more shout outs. Good morning to Gianni. I think Danny is also in chat. Good morning to you, Ale and Bear, and a few other people in chat. I hope you're all doing well. I hope you're drinking coffee and relaxing this morning and not worrying about the crypto price. Now, this is one of those where I'm going to show you 2 tweets to show you why you should never touch pre-sale meme coin sales. So I don't know who this person is, and it's not relevant. Maybe we'll take the name off the screen. They've just put 500 Sol into Bob Ioppa. With such a well thought out plan and a leader in blah blah blah, this project has, I can't imagine this not becoming one of my biggest plays ever. Now, whether this is an April Fool or not, it doesn't matter. They've bookmarked this post. So that's how it went. How it's going. Never buying a pre-sale ever again. This is a different person. My $10,000 is now worth $129. And there is the Bob Ioppa, Bobber Oppa, whatever it's called. I don't care. The point of the matter is, pre-sales are all about separating you from your money. That's what they're all about. Yes, there are legitimate projects that have pre-sales. I get that. But you don't know if it's legitimate or not. You can only go off the hype surrounding it. And if you've got crypto influencers, and I'm not going to name any because it's not fair, but if you've got influencers coming on to X or coming on live stream and saying, oh yeah, this coin, this Mike coin, oh, it's going to move. This Mike coin's going to be worth $10 billion tomorrow. So I'm going to sell it to you at a valuation of $1 million. So you're going to 10,000x your money. Just send me 100 Sol. And are you going to fall for it? Because you're going to trust these people. But what you don't realize is these people are being paid to say those things. And that's the problem, is all of these coins are ruining crypto for the good guys. So the good guys with the good projects, the solid projects, they're trying to launch their projects. And time after time, these projects come out and just, I mean, this was a big one. I think this was about a $40 million rug. And I think what happened was, I think the founder took $28 million and then put $12 million into liquidity. But it emptied the, he took the money. He emptied the liquidity. He took everything and he left. And you lost all of your money. All of your money gone. So please don't fall for pre-sales. If you're going to buy a meme coin and you want to buy good meme coins, ones that have less chance of having problems further down the line, buy ones from exchanges. I know you've missed the majority of the pump, but by the time they get to an exchange, normally they don't rug. We did have the issue with Pepe. We have had a few issues with meme coins. But on the whole, by the time it gets to an exchange, it's big enough and ugly enough to survive. So just keep that in mind. Now, what we're going to cover at the end of the show, I just want to show something to you on CoinMarketCap. This is top real world asset tokens by market cap. So these are crypto projects that are involved with real world assets. And this is the big thing. This is the big buzzword. RWAs are the big buzzword at the minute, because that's what BlackRock are trying to do. They're trying to tokenize everything. And if you listen to the conversation we had with Samai last Wednesday, we were talking about the pitfalls of this and how it's not as easy as it first appears. But there are projects that are connected to real world projects, and this is the list of them. So you've got Avalanche, I hold that. Chainlink, I hold that. And ICP, I hold that. Full disclosure, I hold those 3. I think further down the line, you're going to find other possible coins. Good morning, Fran. You're going to find other coins which you may want to look at. I know a lot of people like synthetics. A lot of people like VeChain, which is like a supply chain project. the further down we go, the less I'm going to understand what these projects are. I don't know what reserve rights is. I imagine it's something to do with copyright. I don't know what half of these projects are down here because they have a tiny market cap. So if you're looking at building a bag of real world asset tokens, then you wouldn't go wrong picking those top 3. Not financial advice, because the market cap, 7 billion, 10 billion, 18 billion, good market caps. All 3 projects are building out. All 3 projects are established. And of the 3, of course, my favorite is Chainlink, which we're going to look at the end of the show. So make sure to check them out, and then we will crack on. I don't know what time the show is going to finish today. We are going to try and get everything done in an hour, but who knows? Who knows if we can make it through in an hour. So Bitcoin falls 4% to retest $68,000 support as Q2 starts. Now remember, I put this together last night. We've already had another 3 or 4% correction since this article. We are down in total, what? 6% down in total, I think, from where we were 2 days ago. We're at 70, 75, something like 70,500, something like that. So we've had a bit of a kick in the teeth. The first one was a flash crash. I think this one was a flash crash. I think when Bitcoin dips, people long, and then the whales come in and liquidate the longs again. So you will see 1 or 2 or even 3 dips like this. So we've come down. There was a lot of liquidations. Lots of people have lost money. This is why another thing is, please don't go near leverage. Leverage is the road to ruin. If you are an expert crypto trader, you are not likely to be listening to me today, this morning, unless you found us by accident. But try and stay to holding the actual asset on spot. If you want to dabble in leverage, you can get long and short tokens on some exchanges where you can get a 3x or a 5x long or short. Those tokens don't end up with you liquidating and losing everything. So you can, for example, you can 3XL on Bitcoin, which would give you 3 times leverage on Bitcoin going up, or 3XS, which is 3 times leverage on Bitcoin falling in value. That's what I would start with. I wouldn't go off and 20x Bitcoin long or 15x Ethereum short. It's not a good time in the market to do that. You'll get wrecked, you'll lose all your position, and then, 20 times the gains means nothing when your bank account is 0. So stick to buying the spot assets. They're speculative enough as it is. So there's been some recovery. The immediate fallout saw a staggering number of traders caught in the downturn. Wow. So we had 71.5. We're now at 66.2, I think. So we've come down $5,000. Some crash. ETH was trading at 34.34. That's come down as well. The market sentiment then. Continues sell pressure could see Bitcoin retest 67.2, which it has done. Despite achieving a historic 7 consecutive green monthly close, there is a consensus that the path to the halving may not be straightforward. May not be a straightforward upward trajectory. Now, April has been, on the whole, a good month for Bitcoin. It's always been a good month. March, not so much. There's months in the year where Bitcoin doesn't do so well. The summer months, I think September, I think February or March, Bitcoin doesn't do very well in those months. April is a good month for Bitcoin on the whole. We're only 2 days in and we've had our correction, or we've had a correction, not all of the correction to the downside. Now, there are bids at 62,000. We said this at the beginning. We could go to 62,000, but let's have a quick look at the chart, see where we are, see if we're still crashing. And again, as I said, April Fool was yesterday. Bitcoin doesn't need to be doing this to us this morning. So, as we say, if in doubt, zoom out. I mean, really haven't come too far down, have we, on the grand scheme of things? If you go back to Saturday the 23rd of March, which was all of 8 days ago, you will see we were at 62,000. This is where the CME gap is, IRB, not the CMC, the CME gap, I believe, is around here. Now, we could, I suppose, come down to this level. 1 second. There we go. We could come down to this level at 61 before moving back up. I don't know whether we're going to do that yet. Let's see what today and tomorrow brings. If we look at the RSI is low. Look at what happened the last time the RSI came down here. We went up. RSI is down here. Are we likely to do that? I don't know. I look for patterns in the charts and that's it. The RSI is fairly low on the daily. We were oversold on the weekly. That's the other thing to bear in mind. We looked at that yesterday. On the 4 hour, again, look at whenever the RSI comes down here, we pump. So I think, personally, we're going to see some kind of relief rally today. I don't think we're going to come straight down any further. I think, if anything, we might retest this line here, which is about 68.5. I think that could be the next target for the day, but I certainly don't think we're going to be breaking. I don't think we're going to be going below 60,000. That is a 10% move, but I just don't see it. I don't think that's going to happen. We are now 18 days away from the halving, 2.5 weeks away. I just don't see it. I don't see us moving down. I do see, I mean, people talk about us not having corrections. That was, on the shorter time frame, 75 to 60. That was a 20% correction. We had one there. We had one further back. If we come back out a bit, we had one further back here. That took us down. So we've had that one. We've had that one. So we've had 2 corrections along the way. It's not as if we've gone up in a straight line. I know we've had green weekly candles, but we haven't gone up in a straight line. We've had periods where either we've had a break or we've failed at resistance and come down. We failed at resistance, we've come down. We haven't failed at any resistance here. This was a sell-off. But the longs got liquidated, we came down. So we never go up in a straight line. But the problem is, it's always grueling when we see huge wicks down in such a short space of time. Good morning, bullish. I hope you're well. I hope you're feeling more bullish today than most people watching this stream. I hope so. So I don't know. If we do come down, then for me, the target would be about 61.6, 61.4. That would be the bottom of this range for me. And we've come down here before. But I do think if we do that, then we're going to do that. That's what I do think. However, if we hold the range, or if there's a buy pressure from the ETFs today, tomorrow, whatever, then we will move up. But let's not worry. We're at 66,000. Yes, we were at 70,000 two or 3 days ago. But, I mean, if in doubt, zoom out. And here is some bullish news to cheer you all up from your unhappiness. Second phase of the crypto bull market about to start, says on-chain analyst. The crypto market is transitioning from the enthusiastic bull phase to the euphoric bull phase, claims on-chain analyst James Check in a latest Cointelegraph interview. The bull market is about to, and sharp price movements. I've got a lot of their charts bookmarked. They know what they're talking about. If he came out and said we're going to $45,000 next week, and somebody that works as an analyst. Now, analysts doesn't mean they have a crystal ball and they're accurate, but they tend to look deep into the charts, whereas an influencer just tends to come on and say, don't worry, we're always going to go up, or don't worry, we're still keep going down because it's the bear market. Analysts have a little bit more nous about them. According to Czech, the enthusiastic bull phase started in a pre-wait that it being phase. That's when you were accumulating your Bitcoin for the bull run. You want to be. That's kind of what's happened over the last 3 or 4 bull runs. So Czech said the next phase will be marked by people getting more and more excited, which will be accompanied by higher volatility. Increased coverage of Bitcoin in the news will lead to increased demand. The price will rise until supply comes back onto the market to satisfy it. Again, man after my own words have been saying the same thing. With these ETFs have broken Bitcoin. And the reason they've broken Bitcoin is they are a completely new source of demand. Now, you buy Bitcoin, I buy Bitcoin. We are not the same as the people buying Bitcoin through these ETFs. These ETFs have now have access to pension funds, to 401s, private pension schemes. They have access to institutional demand. That wasn't there before. Like I've said to you before, you own a little corner shop and somebody builds a high-rise flat 30 stories high across the road from your little tiny shop. Your little tiny shop has 2 options. It keeps selling out every day at 10 past 10, or it puts the price up to such a point that you don't run out of food, supply and demand, and suddenly you start charging $25 for a loaf of bread that was 50 cents 2 weeks ago, because the demand is there. Bitcoin is the same. There are not enough Bitcoin. There is a finite supply. The number of Bitcoin on exchanges is falling every single day until we hit a price where people say, you know what, I'm going to sell my Bitcoin. Now that could be $100,000. That could be $500,000. That could be $1 million. It doesn't matter what the price is to you or I if we're never going to sell, but it matters to people that say $100,000 Bitcoin is going to change my life, I'm going to sell. If enough people at $100,000 say that, and there isn't the demand to get above that price, we won't go above $100,000 because the demand will always keep that supply. And if we get to an equilibrium, that's where we will level off. But at this moment in time, we're not there. I don't care about these short-term dips. I care about when these ETFs, over a period of a few months or 6 or 7 or 8 weeks, when they start to get to the point where their demand is not taking up 700, 800 Bitcoin a day, until we get to that point, the price is going to go up, and it's going to continue to go up because they are buying more than they're selling, and they're doing it on a huge scale. That's why I don't care if we go to $62,000, because guess what? If they're buying $100 million today, they're buying more Bitcoin at $62,000 than they would be if they were buying at $66,000. So more Bitcoin will come out of the exchanges. And guess what? The demand is still there. The supply isn't. The supply will be 1,000, 2,000, 3,000 Bitcoin a day less every single day. So let's not worry about short-term price action. The market just seems to find support very quickly, and this is obviously a good sign indeed. This is why I don't want to say we're going to 62,000 today, because we could get $150, $200 million green day from the ETFs and we're back at $70,000. That's the key. How are we bouncing back? How are we going to get back to $70,000? If we have 4 green days from the ETFs this week or next week, we'll be back at $72,000 before you know it. And because we know that's going to happen, we should also appreciate that this is a good time to get cheap Bitcoin. Buy at 66,000, it goes to 62. Buy at 62,000, it goes to 60. Buy at 60,000. Guess what? We're at 75,000 next week, and you've made 25% profit on Bitcoin. You're the greatest trader since Warren Buffett. You're better than Elizabeth Warren. Think of it that way. This is a good time to pick up cheaper Bitcoin. If you've got $100, maybe don't buy it all today. Maybe a dollar cost average in. Maybe buy it today, tomorrow, Thursday, Friday, Saturday. Or buy it today, next Tuesday, the Tuesday after. Entirely up to you. It's not financial advice, but dollar cost averaging in isn't a bad thing to do. Now, more bullish news. I'm all about the bulls today. All about the bulls today. Tether has become the 7th largest Bitcoin holder with another $618 million purchase. So Tether, for those of you that don't know, stable coins, they hold let's say they hold $10 billion worth of real dollars for their $10 billion of synthetic tokenized crypto dollars. That's how it works. And a lot of people out there wonder how Tether and Circle make money. Well, what they do is they buy government bonds in America. They buy notes, they're called. Now, recently, because of the interest rate hikes, those notes have been paying 5 or 6% interest. Now, I think Tether, let me just double check. I don't want to give you the wrong information. Okay, so Tether has, let's call it $100 billion. They are making, for argument's sake, 5%. So they are making $5 billion a year in interest. $5 billion a year in interest. So if you ever wonder why Tether or Circle can exist, Circle have got 32 billion. So they'll be making, for argument's sake, $1.6 billion a year in revenue. What do they do with it? Well, Tether have already said a few months ago that they were going to be buying, let me just close that down. They were going to be buying Bitcoin with some of their profits. They've just bought 8,000 Bitcoin. On-chain data shows that the stablecoin issuer received approximately 8,889 Bitcoin valued at 618 billion from a wallet on March 31st. This purchase amplified Tether's total Bitcoin holdings to 75,000 Bitcoin valued at 5.23 billion. The purchase places it directly above a wallet tagged as a cold wallet, which holds 75,000. Over the past year, Tether has rapidly augmented its Bitcoin holdings through several quarterly purchases. The company said its purchases are part of its efforts to diversify its reserves, which include a substantial amount of gold, cash, and short-term deposits. So, they are buying big. They are buying big. And the more that the price of Bitcoin goes down, the better it is for the likes of Tether, the likes of Michael Saylor, the likes of BlackRock, the institutional people. So if they're buying all the Bitcoin, why are you selling it? I'm not saying you should hold it. I'm saying if these clever people, if the people with all the researchers in the world can sit there and buy Bitcoin every day, why are you selling it? What makes you think you know more about Bitcoin than they do? When they have teams of people with price predictions and targets for Bitcoin, why are you selling your Bitcoin? Of all the assets that you hold, Bitcoin should be the one that you hold tightest because it's finite. It's the store of wealth. It's the one that nation states want to buy. El Salvador are buying 1 Bitcoin every day. It might not sound like a lot, to be honest, but they're investing in. They've already made $450 million in profit from holding their Bitcoin. So don't throw the towel in. You've got to the end of the fight. You're in the 10th round. You've got 2 rounds to go. Don't throw the towel in. You've held from $15,000 or whatever it was, the bottom was $16,000 you've held all this time. Now is not the time to concede defeat because Jamie Dimon wants your Bitcoin. Larry Fink wants your Bitcoin. Michael Saylor wants your Bitcoin. I'm sure if we asked Elon Musk, he'd want your Bitcoin as well. Don't give it to them. So Vitalik shares a new proposal to build a fairer crypto economy. And there he is, Mr. Pikachu himself. He thinks that the degen communism can make the crypto economy fairer and promote a common good amidst the market's inherent chaos. The term degen communism merges the adventurous spirit of degen culture, known for its high-risk, high-reward investment strategies, with a structured approach to ensure that the fallout from market volatility disproportionately harms none. Let's see. So he's published a paper. He calls it a more equitable system, which he supported during the Terra Luna crash in 2022. He also proposes that project teams mention this model in their terms of service, explaining that funds will be prioritized from the bottom up in insolvency. I do agree with that. 2 years ago, when I proposed this idea, many treated it with scorn, misrepresenting the ideas as asking for government bailouts. Here, though, I am not proposing anything to do with the governments. Rather, I am proposing that project teams put into their terms of service an expectation. The only request to governments is that appropriate rules get passed so that bankruptcy courts acknowledge the legitimacy of such arrangements. Now, the issue with bottom-up payments is, if I have $1,000 and you have $100,000, I will get all of my money back and you might only get $5,000 back. So you will be disproportionately punished because you have more money in the system than me. So you don't get paid out the same. And in traditional bankruptcy, what happens is they will say, we have 10 billion in assets. We owe 20 billion in assets. We will give everybody 50% of their money back. That's what traditionally happens. So the person with $1,000 would get 500. The person with $100,000 would get $50,000. That has been in place for decades. Vitalik, Mr. Pikachu man himself, thinks that we should disproportionately pay back the people at the bottom of the tree first. Now, there is some merit in that, I will give you that. But I don't believe it's legal. I don't believe you can legally do this. If you owe a baker $100 and the grocer $100 and you have $100, you should split it 50-50, irrespective of the status of the grocer or the baker. That's how it has worked because it's the fairest way to do it. So what would be a better solution, in my opinion, is the one that CZ proposed, where they would create a fund, a crypto fund. And I think at the time that CZ wanted to do it, it was going to have $2 billion in it. And what it would do is it would create an insurance policy. And that insurance policy would give you a payout. So if somewhere was hacked for $12 million, this crypto fund would make everybody whole again. Or you'd make the project whole again as well. In return for the crypto fund getting a stake in that company. For me, that's a far better idea. I think sometimes Vitalik lives in this fairy tale land where everything is fair and just and equal, and it isn't. And I think having a fund is very similar to how they have a fund for travel agencies. Insurance companies do the same thing. They have a fund. Believe it or not, they all pay into this fund. So when there's a plane crash or something like that, that fund pays out. Because one insurance company can't cover anything, it would go bankrupt. I think that's a fairer system, and I think big crypto companies should all pay into that fund, and in return they should all get a stake in that company, which in the future, if that company becomes a roaring success, they sell that off, and the money from sales of those tokens goes back into the fund. Far better way than the one that Vitalik is suggesting here, in my opinion, and in the opinion of CZ, who is obviously far wiser than I. Now then, Core. Bitcoin-powered altcoin skyrockets 470% in just over a week as rest of market corrects. Now we've got 20 minutes should I say. I think we're going to get through everything we need to get through on time today, which is a bonus. So much of a bonus, I'll actually have a drink of coffee. So then, I'm going to be honest. I'd never heard of Core. I saw it in the charts 3 days ago. That's the first I've heard of it. Maybe even 4 days ago. So a layer 1 blockchain project developing in the Bitcoin ecosystem is skyrocketing. Core, which aims to leverage Bitcoin's proof of work system along with the attributes of proof of stake, using its own consensus mechanism called Satoshi Plus, has soared 477% in the past week. Now, for those of you that have been watching me, I made a video about Zeus Network 2 weeks ago. Zeus Network is it's a dApp, I suppose, that sits on Solana, and it's going to connect Solana to Bitcoin using Apollo, which is the actual dApp on Zeus, to tap into the liquidity of Bitcoin. Now, for me, connecting the third or fourth biggest crypto in the world with the biggest crypto in the world is massive, in my opinion, if it works. So anything that connects to Bitcoin, for me, I am interested in, because if you think about earning yield, for example, Warren Buffett talks about this all the time. This is why he doesn't buy gold. Ethereum has a yield if you stake your Ethereum. So does Cardano, so does Solana. Bitcoin doesn't produce a yield because it's proof of work. The miners are the ones that get rewarded, not the validators and the stakers. They don't get rewarded. They get rewarded in kind of the value of the entire chain gives you the value of your Bitcoin. It's the biggest, most decentralized, securest network mankind has ever built. That's where you get your value from. But 50% of crypto is in Bitcoin, and it's untapped, because gold, you can dig it out of the ground and you can put it into a mobile phone. You can put it into jewelry. You can wear it as a ring. So that's how you can use gold. You can't do any of that at the minute with Bitcoin at this moment in time. Any news about the Camino airdrop? I made a video, Fran. They have allocated the points. The video I made yesterday has got a calculator in it, a link to a calculator, so you can go and see how many Camino points you are going to get and how much that's going to be worth. The airdrop is going to happen between, it says, I think the wording is between Q1 and Q2. Now we're in Q2, so I would imagine that the airdrop is going to happen for Camino at some point in April, and that's about as much as I can say. There's other bits in the video that I can tell you, but you can go and calculate it. You put your Solana wallet address in, you don't have to connect it, and it tells you what to do. So for me, how do we tap into Bitcoin's proof of work? Now, I've said before that you could use Bitcoin to validate other blockchains. Charles Hoskinson has talked about Cardano being able to do this. It is possible to use Cardano, for example, to help validate another chain. Now, why would you do that? Because if Cardano leverages its proof of stake system on, for example, Phantom, the Phantom chain, those Cardano holders that are helping to validate Phantom would be paid Phantom as a reward. Now, if there was a mechanism to do this, where you could earn Cardano and earn Phantom, then you're doubling or tripling the yield you get from staking your Cardano, which would push the price up. If you can validate, for example, if you could validate the Solana blockchain using the Bitcoin system, you would be able to pay Solana to Bitcoin holders. I'm not going into the ins and outs of it, but it is a possibility to do that, and lots of people are working on it. There is a way to do it. There's also a way to create a DeFi platform on Bitcoin. There are other chains building those, other layer 2s, Bitcoin layer 2s doing that. So it's not outside of the realms of possibility. So Core moved from 59 cents on March the 23rd to $3.40 yesterday. So that would have been April the 1st. So in a week, it's moved up 6x almost. So Kruger last month, there are two kinds of people in crypto, those who have heard about Core and those who will. Nice comment. He believes that Core will outperform Stacks, another altcoin that leverages the Bitcoin ecosystem. He said on Sunday, Core will flip STX 3x achieved, 4x to go. It is ranked 49th amongst digital assets by market cap. At time of writing, Core's market cap is 3 trillion. That's quite high for a coin I'd never heard of. It remains below the market cap of Stacks, which is 5 billion. Stacks is ranked 26th. The Core DAO announced the launch of Core BTC, a wrapped version of Bitcoin native to Core chain that aims to maintain a one-to-one peg. Again, this is where it becomes very flaky for me, because once you start to have synthetic versions of Bitcoin and move them off chain, even if it's still related, for me that brings with it security risks. And personally, there needs to be a native way of doing this. If you're going to tap into the Bitcoin system, there needs to be something connected to Bitcoin that allows you to stake it on a layer 2 of Bitcoin, not a separate chain. Because once you create synthetic versions, I mean, we've got it, it's worked perfectly fine on ETH, it's worked perfectly fine with Solana, with BSOM and MSOL, but there is always going to be a risk. So Core BTC provides Bitcoin equivalent in DeFi, allowing Bitcoin holders to maintain their assets value while assessing a variety of applications. The goal is to empower Bitcoin holders with new ways to use their assets. Now, I'm going to be honest, I'm going to go nowhere near this for at least a year. I am not touching this with a barge pole. If there is a single vulnerability in this system, that Bitcoin is gone. And this is like shining a light. You know, in those zombie films where somebody puts the light on the lighthouse and all the zombies walk towards the tower, all the hackers in the world are going to go after Core, because all of this Bitcoin is going to sit there in a vault with any single hole in that vault, and their Bitcoin is gone. And then you're left with a synthetic version of Bitcoin that has no asset to back it. So I'm not going to touch this, and I hope it's a roaring success, but I'm going nowhere near it. So it's decentralized applications secured by Bitcoin, built with EVM-compatible smart contracts on a Bitcoin-powered blockchain. So Ethereum virtual machine, Bitcoin-powered blockchain. Yeah, I suppose. So now down here, under Explore, I think it is, the ecosystem, it's got a list of the companies associated with this. You might recognize some of the names. Anchor is in there. I don't want to go through too many of them. What other ones are in there that I recognized? There's so many businesses and projects that it's very difficult to actually keep on top of them all. But you know, you've got the usual ones. I'm not reading them out. You've got MetaMask is in here, but these are just, most of these are just wallets. And if the wallet supports the Core blockchain, they're going to get listed on here. Pyth is listed there, but that'll just be for providing the real-time price. So for me, I'm not going to touch this, and I am not saying financially that you shouldn't touch this, but I'm going nowhere near it for now. In the future, in 2 years' time, I could come on here and say this is the greatest thing since sliced bread. Now, the other thing is, when you see a coin do this, it's a lot of the time it's going to do that. Now, I'm not saying it's going to come down to $2. What I'm saying is that it's had a blow off top. And if you go further out, you will see that it has been at this price before. It's not a new, you know, it's kind of been here back February, well, a year ago, pretty much a year ago, it was up here at $5. It would have been launched. People would have been going absolutely crazy because this is going to build DeFi on top of Bitcoin. I'd never heard of it. I've never heard of it. In the entire year that we've been doing this stream, I've never heard of Core. And it's probably because it's been down here. So you could have picked this up at 25, 30 cents. And now we're at $3.18. So what do I think is going to happen? I think we're going to come back down to find some level of support, and that could very well be, I mean, there's no previous on this. All I would say is we are seriously overbought. So I would expect something like that to happen. And then potentially this, I'm not saying it's going to come down forever, but it's a very big wick up. I mean, that was Sunday and Monday. So Sunday morning, 145, it made it up to 425 in a day. That's not healthy, in my opinion. It's not as if they've just launched the product. So for me, it's a no from me for core. And I've got 10 minutes left to talk about Link. I think I've got the Link chart as well in here. So then, the final part of the day is to do with real world assets. Remember, RWA. RWA. Real world assets. It's the new buzz around town. Where's the article gone? Hang on 1 second. I've copied the wrong flaming article. That's no good. 1 minute. Let me have a little look. Give me 1 second. I'm going to put you on pause while I go and find the right article. 1 minute. Okay, this isn't the article that I found, but we're going to go through this one anyway, just so you all know where we are. So Sentiment reveals the top RWA altcoins. Chainlink takes the lead. Remember, RWA, real world assets. This is tokenizing the value of a real world asset. So what's a real world asset? A office block, a Rembrandt painting, a Bugatti Veyron. It could actually be stocks in a company. They can be tokenized. It can be anything outside of the blockchain that you can break up into smaller parts. Now, for me, if you look at NFTs, they've been doing this for the last 4 or 5 years. You can turn, a pair of trainers, for example, from Nike. They've had an NFT version of those trainers that you can buy and trade. And my issue has always been, how do you connect a real world asset, such as a pair of trainers, with an NFT? Because if I sell my NFT, I can keep my pair of trainers. Banksy did something very similar where you buy a Banksy NFT and they would send you the actual physical NFT in the post. Sorry, the physical version of the NFT in the post. But then what happens if you sell a digital version? There's a disconnect between the real world and blockchain, in my opinion, especially in unregulated markets. It's an absolute minefield and an absolute mess, in my opinion. Now, yes, it's difficult to steal an office block, but the office block could fall down. Or, cars can be stolen, paintings can disappear or damaged or whatever. So for me, there's always an issue with how does that token reflect in real time real world assets? And I don't think there's a solution at this moment in time. I think it's better used when you look at bonds and stocks and shares and things which are already electronic. I think it works better for them than physical items, because physical items, as I've just said, it can become really messy. So Sentiment unveils top real-world asset coins. Chainlink leads, followed by Synthetics, Ori Chain, Maker, and more. Sentiment, who we cover a lot on this channel, shared its insights into GitHub activity. Now, I was going to put this into yesterday's show, and I didn't bother because we did a similar version of this a few days ago when we looked at, top commits by chain and whatever it might be. So I didn't want to do the same thing a few days. But they're using that to show which are the top real-world assets. I would much rather use the list that I gave you at the start of the show, which I'll bring up again because there's bound to be people that weren't here. So on CoinMarketCap, in the top right-hand corner is a search bar. If you type in real-world assets and click on categories, you will end up at this page. And this is showing you the top projects associated with RWAs. Avalanche, Chainlink, and ICP, clearly the three leaders. So, and I've said as well, I hold all three. I hold more Chainlink and ICP than I do hold of Avalanche, but I hold all three. And I didn't buy them because of their real-world asset connections. I bought them because I like all of their projects. So, let's go back to the article. So, Chainlink leads the pack. According to the sentiment analyst, Chainlink is the front runner, boasting over 3 times the development activity of its closest competitors. Let's delve deeper. We don't need to delve any deeper, thank you very much. Chainlink managed to grab huge profits from the bull market. We don't need to know anything about that. Among the top contenders of Chainlink as identified are Synthetics, Chain, and Maker and Dusk, coming out in the top 5. And this is based on development, remember. So if we have a quick look at Maker, Maker is 4th. Chain, Synthetic is there as well. Chain must be somewhere on this list. There we go. That's way down there. Very small market cap, 181 million. Maybe that's going to be a hidden gem, because if that 10x's your money, it'll only go to 1.8 billion, which would put it still in, what's that, 6th place. So maybe Chain is the one to pick up. The remaining top 5 come in the top list of 10. Centrifuge, Plymesh, Bonson. Is that Bonson or Boson? I don't know. Reserve and ProPi. With each project may approach RWA integration differently, these tokens have collectively contributed to the growing conjunction of blockchain tech and traditional assets. You know, it would be a really good idea, and I'm going to say this because no one's going to do it. Somebody should make a crypto fund that holds each of these things as a fund. So Basket, which we covered very briefly a few weeks ago, and I made a video about Basket. Basket is a coin that holds various different coins on Solana. Wouldn't it be a good idea if somebody made coins that held RWA tokens or AI tokens? So by holding one token, you're exposed to that category. Venom. Somebody asked me about Venom a long time ago. Any thoughts about Venom, Fran? No thoughts about Venom. I'll have a quick look at it after this. But yeah, it'd be a good idea. Rather than you having to go out and do your own research on 12 different AI tokens or 10 different real-world asset tokens, if you could just come along and say, right, I want to buy $100 of RWA. I want to buy $100 of AI. That would be a good idea, in my opinion. The same with oil. You could go and buy $100 of oil ETFs or gold ETFs or diamond ETFs, whatever. It would be a good idea for somebody to create a synthetic ETF, if you like, in my opinion. Now, what do I think? Very quickly then, we're going to have a quick look at the Chainlink price. At 11.59, we've managed to do the entire show on time. How's about that? Now, Chainlink has struggled to get above $20 and stay there. And if we go back, what Chainlink does, it has a really uncanny habit of staying in a range. We've talked about this one May last year. This was from May 2022 to October 2023. So 18 months it was in that range. Move along. This was November to January. So this was two months. 3 months. Same range. Where are we now? Oh, look. we're in another range. Again, same thing again. So where's it going to go? It's going to retest up there. So Chainlink is a good coin to trade. If you'd have bought Chainlink, let's go back down here. If you'd have bought Chainlink here, sell, buy, sell, buy, sell. You could have done that for 18 months. Buy, sell. It's a nice range-bound coin. Same thing again. Now, what would have happened here is you'd have bought. Maybe you sold there. But then, as soon as you start to see this, sell, buy, sell, buy, sell, buy. Now, look, you've got that pump as well. Sell at that range, buy, sell, buy, buy, sell. I'm going out of tune here. Anyway, you get the point. You get the idea. I think $18, great price for Chainlink at this moment in time. I think it's a good price for it to be in this bull run. If we go back, I think it's at $50 was its all-time high. If we go all the way back here, price is $51. So $51 was Chainlink's all-time high. Now, Chainlink isn't one of those coins that doesn't do anything, so why would it go back to its all-time high? Chainlink has been building for this entire period of time. It's built all through the bull run and all through the bear market. It has built and it has built. So Chainlink for me, real world assets, it's the top oracle, it's the coin to buy for me, not necessarily for you, it's the coin to buy for me, because this is going to be the market leader. Is there anything near it in terms of oracles? No. Because of that, it can provide on-ramping and off-ramping to crypto. If you look at it in terms of CCIP, which is its security protocol, that can be used by countless projects and chains, and it allows cross-chain interoperability. So it's got that going for it. It's a full it allows for ecosystems to connect on multiple levels, and it's never talked about as much because it's not sexy. It's not got that sex appeal that you get with Solana, and that's just the simple fact. The same reason why at this moment in time Cardano is down on its luck, XRP is down on its luck, but they're going to rip. These coins, when they want to go, they go. Same with Cardano. Cardano is always late to the party. Cardano is the one that turns up to the party at midnight, just as everybody's ordering taxis to go home. It turns up and it's late, always late. And that's the same with some of these coins that aren't in the public spotlight. So do some research on Chainlink, at least. I'm not saying go out and buy a huge bag of Link, but it's that coin that you should hold. And again, the reason you need to do your research is you shouldn't be buying anything based on what somebody tells you on the internet. You need to look into the coin and see where you think its value is going to be. The other thing about this coin, and the last thing I'm going to say about this coin, is it generates buckets and buckets of revenue. It makes a fortune because it's so integrated into everything. It takes a fraction of all of these transactions, and all of those fractions add up, and it makes a fortune. So it's going to generate huge revenues. And again, what's the point of buying into a company? Would you buy into, or would you invest in a baker's that wasn't going to open for 3 years, but had a valuation of $2 million? You wouldn't, because you don't know how much money it's going to make. You don't know if it's going to have any clientele. You don't know what the product's going to be like, but you're buying it because it's called flashy bakers. That's what crypto is like on the whole. It's all speculation. There are projects out there that will make a lot of money, and Chainlink is one of them. Ethereum makes a lot of money. Bitcoin makes an absolute bucket load for its miners. So there are projects that make money. You have to look at where that money is coming from, because what happens when some of these blockchains, what happens when they run out of their investment? Do they go back to the venture capitalists and say, can we have some more money? Can we have another round of funding? Because the VCs will say, well, actually, we really like your chain, but AVAX and Ethereum and Solana, they all do what you said you were going to do. So we're not going to invest in you anymore. What happens to that chain? It's gone. It's finished. At some point, these projects have to turn a profit. If they don't, what is the point of them? What's the point of investing in a company that doesn't make any money? What's the point investing in a blockchain that doesn't make any money? Chainlink makes money, and it currently has such a huge lead on its competition that I couldn't even name you many competitors to Chainlink. Pyth, yes, on pricing, but not when you look at what Chainlink does. It doesn't have that much competition, and even when it does have competition, the market is big enough for 2, 3, 4 versions of Chainlink to coexist. So if a competitor does come along, it's not a one and done. It's big enough to generate so much money that it can hold 4 or 5. You know, the graph can compete on one element as well as Pyth, but not across everything it does. It's a behemoth of a company, and it's going to make a fortune in the future. Now, I will have a look at Venom when I go off air this afternoon, and I will probably drop a comment into chat tomorrow to let you know what I think about it. Now, I think we've come to the end of the show. I'm very quickly going to have a look at the Bitcoin price, because I believe that Bitcoin has continued its downward momentum. 66 and change. So 66,000 on Bitcoin. We are getting, again, as I said before when we looked at it, every single day I do the same thing, right? So RSI is coming down. Now, it can come down further. When the RSI is low, that is normally an indicator that we will have some kind of short-term relief. Every time we've had the RSI down here, we've had a pump. Maybe we will have a pump today, or at least a relief rally to get us back up towards 68,000. We might come down further. Maybe we come down to 65.5, 65.2, but I think we'll have a relief rally today. We don't normally come down in a straight line, the same way we don't normally go up in a straight line. So that is it. That is the show. It is 8 minutes past 12. Thank you to everybody for watching. Thank you to Fran for the questions. Thank you to Danny for coming, and Kishan for coming every day. Thank you for all of your comments in chat. They break the show up. Don't be afraid to ask questions, because if you ask questions, it breaks the show up for me. It's always good to have people asking me questions and questioning me. I'm all about that. I'm more than happy to do that. So until tomorrow, I'm back at 11 o'clock. Oh, Mags, I forgot about you. Thanks, Mags. In answer to Mags's question, Mags asked me a question at the start of the show. What did I think about, what was the token? Neutron. Neutron. Now, I said to him, I held Neutron, and I did. And what I do from time to time is I do a spring clean of my crypto assets. And the reason I do that is that I see these influencers, or whatever you want to call them, and they will hold 300 tokens. And for me, that's not proper risk management. That's not proper portfolio management. You shouldn't hold 300 tokens. I don't think you should hold 300 tokens. I think you should hold, your main bag should have 8 to 12 assets in it. Then if you want to get a gaming and AI bag, you should have another portfolio with those tokens in. Maybe hold 8 to 10 tokens of those. So although you're having 20 or 30 tokens in your portfolio, they're in separate portfolios, and you should treat them separately as well. That's the way I do it. Now, Neutron I held. I also held lots of other tokens, maybe about 5 or 6, and from time to time I will sell out of them. I will sell them all off, and take the profit and run and go and put them into something else. And that's what I do. So that's why I don't hold Neutron. Not because I don't like the project, because I don't hold every token I like. Otherwise, I'd have those 500 tokens. And for me, you spread yourself too thinly, in my opinion. And yes, there are people who will hold 1,000 meme coins, and one of them will rip and they'll become a millionaire, and good for them. But that's not me. I will hold I think I've got about 14 or 15 tokens in total. That's it. So take care. Thank you everybody for watching. I will see you in the morning at 11 o'clock. Have a great day. Don't worry about the crypto price. Short-term noise, long-term gain. See you soon. Bye.